The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to talk about true garden facts, as well as garden diseases and possible management of those diseases. Our guest is author Emily Teuscher will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your day just for a little bit. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're doing such on one of the 20 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2025, through a radio app, through our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Radio 9 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay or in-studio video replay. Thank you so much for choosing us today. If you want to be part of the program, you can certainly do such by sending us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call toll-free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469. Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
Okay, this one made me laugh. Why do cows tell such good jokes?
Because they get them from the movies?
Close.
Okay.
It has moo in it. Because they're amusing.
Oh,
I know it's technically not a garden joke, but it's like a farm joke, and it's funny. So
somehow we can tie it all under in one umbrella. All right.
This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pests such as wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
We only have one more joke this year. Next week is the last show.
I gotta look for like a really good one.
A dinger.
Is a dinger a good one?
I don't know.
Or a zinger?
A zinger, a dinger.
A zinger, I think, is what it is.
What a dinger. It's out of the park. I don't know. All right.
Humdinger.
Humdinger. True garden facts. You know, we hear a lot of things. We see a lot of things, a lot of information. You can type whatever you want on your social media platform. And if you do it good enough, people will believe it. Like you could type tomorrow morning and go, happy number 2 pencil day. International number 2
and
pencil.
People would just share it.
People would share it. People would be like, yeah, you're good.
Like tell their kids or their coworkers.
Be sure you tell your teacher it's International number 2 pencil day. People will do that. So the same thing holds true with gardening. You can go and type in a certain question or topic, and you will find the same copy-paste on 19, 20, 45 different websites because they glean it from one and they share it, that type of thing. Kind of like, the way the news media works. Certain news media will take and write an article, and then other media outlets will grab that, give them the credit, and there you go. So, wood chips take up nitrogen out of your soil. That is true. Wood chips do take nitrogen from the soil and deplete in decomposition. Fresh wood chips.
Yeah.
But only temporarily, and it's limited amounts of nitrogen that the wood chips will take up. So, particularly when you're tilling the soil. When you use surface mulch, nitrogen depletion is limited to shallow zones where the chips may be meet the soil, and is not all issues to plant. It's not an issue at all to plant root.
Right.
So, it benefits of this long-term breakdown into the soil is nutrients. Adding nitrogen-rich organic material and fertilizer alongside fresh wood chips can mitigate the short-term nitrogen tie-up. So you want aged wood chips.
Right. What's interesting is it actually sounds like the opposite. Like it would be a myth that wood chips take nitrogen out of the soil because you would think that it wouldn't have any impact or any effect. But
look at wood in the wood. Like look at a downed tree.
Right.
It's breaking apart.
Yeah.
And it needs certain elements in order to compost.
Right, so it seems like it would be a good thing for your soil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you see a down tree and you see how it's decomposing.
Well, in the hugelkultur world, where you have, when you have the logs underneath, and then you have feet of soil on top. The logs, as they break down, they are feeding the soil and holding water and allowing the water to wick back out of the. Yeah,
that's why it's like you go to the woods and you see this tree that fell down however many years ago and it's decomposing and it's becoming one with the soil. So that's why it's like, wood chips take nitrogen, but because
so if you can get wood chips for free. And they're not old wood chips. They're a mixture of fresh and new. If you can get a hold of one of these tree services, you want to put it over and let it age for a year plus. Now, even though it is aged, you still want to be cautious because there is less tie-up, but there is some tie-up in that. This is really the best opportunity to utilize, if you can only get fresh, is your walk paths. Put it in your walk paths. Don't incorporate it into your grow areas, especially your annual areas, your tomatoes, your peppers, your eggplant beds. Something like asparagus for aged wood chips, raspberry, blackberry beds to suppress the weeds, hold the moisture, that type of thing would be really beneficial.
Right. So pine needles do not make the soil acidic.
Oh, boy.
This is like your favorite, one of your favorite ones because pine needles make really good mulch.
Well, and you can guarantee 88% of the time somebody puts something about blueberries. Blueberries require a very acidic soil. Oh, well, put pine needles around them. That'll make the soil acidic. I've done that for years, and my blueberries are the best ever. Well, that's not true. Pine needles on the tree, yes, are acidic on the acidity alkaline scale. It's a 0 to 14, 7 being neutral or what most soil is. Most vegetables need that 6.5 to 7.2 range. Strawberries like 5.3. Blueberries are somewhere in the 4 range. But most of your plants are going to do fine if you are in that 6.5 to 7.2, 7.3 range. So pine needles, yes, are acidic. They're like crazy number, like 3.5 or something while they're on the tree. But when they fall on the ground and you utilize them as mulch, they take a tremendous amount of time to break down. And by the time they actually break down into a usable soil material, they've neutralized. So you can incorporate this into your compost pile, but no more than about 10% of the overall mass should be pine needles due to the duration of time it takes for them to break down into a usable form. Use them as mulch. It works really good around your tomatoes, your peppers, your eggplants. And then if you till it in or you spade it in, it's not going to hurt the soil like a wood chip or wood chips would.
Right. Okay, so beans do not add nitrogen to the soil. There's this myth that if you plant beans, even any sort of legume, so whether it be a bean or, what's that?
Three Sisters.
Three Sisters, or soybeans, or anything that is in the legume category, that the roots will affix nitrogen into the soil because they have these nodules on the roots, and the thought processes.
Peas do as well.
Yeah, peas. I was trying to think of the other thing. And the thought process is because they have the nodules on the roots that they affix nitrogen into the soil.
It's a problem fixer.
It's not a problem fixer. You would have to
5 years.
Yeah,
5 years, and even at the 5-year mark, if you continue to plant beans, it is so minute of an increase. It is not even beneficial to any other plant.
The chances of the motility of the nitrogen actually moving around the soil then is extremely...
What's the sound of nitrogen moving through the soil? That's the official scientific sound of nitrogen moving through. Okay.
All right. Anyway, so that's not true. You need to add nitrogen. If you need nitrogen in your soil, don't wait 5 years to possibly have that happen. Add the nitrogen now.
For organic fertilizer, compost, that type of thing. Do not add sand to clay soil to get it to break up. This is a very common thing that people will often suggest. Oh, you got clay soil? Sand will break it up. You put sand and you put clay together and you add water. You're making
like clay.
You're making like a concrete consistency of a mortar like you would see the Native Americans build their huts with.
So you want to add compost.
Yes.
Whatever that may be. It can be your own compost. It can be a high compost that you buy at the local nursery garden center.
Bag or bulk?
Yeah, and you want to add organic material. The organic material will actually break up the clay. Leaves, yeah. All those things will help break up the clay, and that's your answer.
Well, here we're talking. We're in fall time. You got leaves. Leaves are falling down. You got neighbors that hate the trees that are spitting the leaves out. Put 2 or 3 feet of leaves over an area that is very problematic,
right?
And you will, you can mulch it, or you can leave it be. Preferably mulch it if you want it to break down quicker, and literally just make a little pin with fence post and wire or netting, and just fill it up and let it set for a year. You will be amazed what that soil will look like a year from now if you put about 4 feet of leaves, mulch leaves in there, and just let it sit. The nutrients, the rain, the insects, the microbes will bring that nutrients in the leaves down into the ground and revitalize that soil in a way that would take, it's for free. It's really an interesting and very good way to, it's going to be a poor result if I try to plant anything there, or I can spend a lot of time or money and bring material in, or I can just make a little pin, fill it up with leaves, walk away, and I'll see you next year, and it'll be ready for another planting season, just
right,
1 year fallow.
Let's have a fun fact here.
Okay.
Not that these other facts aren't fun, but this is
These are real facts.
These are real facts. A sunflower isn't just one flower. The sunflower looks like a huge flower head, but it is. So the fuzzy brown center, not the petals, obviously, contain 1,000, 2,000 individual flowers, and each of those sunflowers, the individual flowers, then produce a sunflower seed. And it's interesting because if you take the sunflower seeds out, it does have like a little flower looking. Well, there are
images online that will show that you got the big flower, and then the seeds will start flowering open as well.
Right.
If there's the right moisture and situation, they'll pop over and have little tiny flowers inside where the seeds are at.
Yeah, so that's a fun fact. And then here's another one. A lot of people might know this, maybe not. There are more microorganisms in a single teaspoon of soil than there are of people on Earth, and it's because of all these microbes that exist in the soil, and that's what does all the magic. Yeah,
so it's just fascinating with the amount of, one, technology that we are able to figure that out with, and two, the power that nature has if we just get out of the way and let them be.
Absolutely.
Walton's Inc. has some products for you.
Yeah, we're brought to you today by Walton's Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from, canning and preserving. At Walton's, you can get equipment to make seasoning and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. They have everything, whether it be meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers. They have spices to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
You want a fun fact that has nothing to do with gardening?
Of course.
How long in days do you think 1 million seconds is?
I think you told me this.
Okay.
Was it 11 days?
It's 11 days. Yeah. A little over 11 days. 11 and a half days. How long in duration is 1 billion seconds?
1,000 days.
31 years and 7 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just the incredible 31.7 years is how long 1 billion seconds.
All right, Mr. Fun Fact.
When we return, we're going to talk about diseases in your garden and the potential management of such diseases. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Good garden tools make gardening easier. Wisconsin-made Cobra Head tools simplify weeding, cultivating, digging, and planting. Favorites of professional gardeners, Cobra Head tools are durable, ergonomic, and easy to work with. Visit CobraHead.com and use coupon code SOIL for 10% off your order. David J. Frank, Southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company, is a landscaper you need. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com.
Mantis garden tiller cultivators are the perfect solution for any garden. With their gas-powered 2-cycle or 4-cycle engine, these powerful machines can till 9 or 16 inches of land without you breaking a sweat. And it doesn't stop there. Mantis's optional attachments allow you to aerate, plow, and more with the snap of a finger. Engineered with durability in mind, Mantis tiller cultivators will be your guaranteed garden companion for a long time. You can find more out and details at mantis.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA BioPreferred certified? You bet. Say goodbye to Roundup and hello to No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. No More Weeds kills weeds with no harsh chemicals and no glyphosate. Safe around pets, No More Weeds has a proprietary sticking agent to use around gardens, pools, decks, patios, anywhere there are weeds. Available online at natgreenproducts.com, Amazon, and Walmart.com. Order yours today. The same great company that brings you no more bugs. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. You want more information about those companies that make the show possible? Our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Money tab for coupon codes and the Season 9 tab for all sponsors listed. Many of them are returning as we are working diligently for Season 10 in 2026. And we will talk more about that next week in our final show. So while we are in the process here of the conclusion of our growing season, we're going to talk about some diseases that you may have been exposed to in the garden, your plants, what they are, and how best to manage them if management of them is actually a thing.
All right, I think we should talk about this one, even though it's not seed starting time, but it's always good to remember. We don't have to. We don't have an order here, but damping off, and you might hear this from, you watch these short video formats, whether it be on Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and somebody might be, I'm having damping off, and they might kind of explain it, but not really. So damping off is a common and fatal disease, and it affects all types of plant seedlings, and it's most prevalent when seeds are germinated in cool, wet soils. So it's typically right when they kind of emerge.
Right, they get about 1 or 2 inches tall, and then they just fall over, and that's it.
Yeah, so they usually look kind of healthy, and then all of a sudden they're just like off. So you want to make sure you are not over watering your soil. You want to make sure you are starting your seeds in a warm room temperature area, so about 68 degrees and above. If you are for some reason starting your seeds in like a basement or an attic where it's not
unclimatized location,
you want to do something about
heat mats,
things like that.
It's caused by several species of fungi and fungus that gets in the soil because of the issues. Now, what we have found that works very well is when we start our seeds, we've got the seed tray, we've got fill in the blank, brassicas.
Is that the cinnamon?
We get, powdered cinnamon. You take and you plant your seeds, you water your seedlings, and then you sprinkle on just a fine dusting of cinnamon over your whole seed tray or area in which the seeds have been planting. And that that cinnamon has beneficial properties that will fight the fungi and the fungus that is in that soil or potentially in that soil, in which you will not experience the dampening off.
All right, so we have rose rust.
Yes.
So this is something that, I don't know I don't know much about this one because we don't grow
We are not
roses.
rosarians, but we've had that is a real term.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a made-up one.
So it does affect many varieties of roses. Its hybrids are more prone to the disease, and it can be more prevalent if the summers are warmer and the winters are cooler. Or on the coast, so rose rust looks like rust, yellow spots. The dark, what color is rust? Like a dark orange? would you
Dark
say?
orange, brown.
Whatever, yeah, however you want to describe it. And this comes from the fungi. So the fungi spreads and infects the roses, and it causes this problem. Once the symptoms develop, it is difficult. So you want to prune that out.
Right. Remove the infected leaf area, and to prevent that spread, and make sure there's good air circulation to avoid overhead watering. For you, I know when it rains, we can't avoid that. And apply a fungicide containing copper, sulfur, and other beneficial properties on that. So again, whenever we're trimming the infected area, let's not drag it across through the rest of the rose patch, because some roses may be infected, others aren't. But if you're dangling that over and just, I'll get it to the trash, you want to encapsulate it in a bucket, or preferably a bag in which it's going to be discarded right away with, so you're not contaminating another device that you have to sanitize. You're wanting to try to keep things as clean as possible, and make sure when you do prune that you do wipe down your pruners with isopropyl alcohol to kill anything that may be on there, so you're not spreading to other roses as you're trimming and pruning and cutting flowers and deadheading.
All right, so another issue that can happen to houseplants is root rot on houseplants. And this is just where the roots of the plant rot. Your plant might be looking healthy, all of a sudden it's not looking healthy. You're like, oh, maybe I haven't watered in a while or something, and then you water and it's like still like looking sad, and then it just dies, and you're just like, okay. And then you pull the roots out, and the roots are mushy and disgusting, and what happened is you got root rot. So one thing you can do is avoid by overwatering your plant. So with that being said, you put it on a schedule. You can do once a week. Usually most houseplants just need once a week. Some of them
are like once a month.
Yeah, some are like once a month. So that's one, paying attention as to how often you should water it, and then also making sure you just stick to that schedule, because it can be like, or if you have, maybe you work in a place where multiple people are thinking, oh, it's time to water the plant, and then all of a sudden,
nobody waters the plant.
yeah. Or the opposite.
You're the only one that waters it, and you have to give it CPR every time you have to water it, because nobody takes care of the thing.
Right.
Maybe you can take it home.
So I did that. I brought my plant home during 2020, and then it died because I probably overwatered. I was probably neglecting it.
If your plants if everything looks good on your house plant, and then you start seeing yellowing of leaves, this is a tell sign that you're overwatering it. You can pull the root, and if you can catch it early enough, you want to make sure that you is there an issue with the drainage? Has something clogged the drainage.
Right.
The roots are going to be yellowy, or they're going to be waterlogged, they're going to be spongy, they're going to be decaying, they're going to have a smell to them. At that point, it's pretty much based on the specific plant. There are possibilities of doing certain surgeries on it in order to help it recover. Other plants, there is not really an answer, and it's kind of let the cycle go and get a new plant.
Right. So what you can do is so this is a fungus. And so obviously with too much moisture, fungus grows. That's basic plant science. So one is to make sure you're buying plants from a reputable place. Not saying grocery store plants or something like that, big box store plants are bad, but you don't know how those plants are taken care of, especially at like a major grocery store, and they're just like in this little greenhouse wannabe
Hey,
area.
Bill, can you put the plants on the end cap? Oh, I'll put the plants on the end cap. Ba-boom, ba-boom.
Yeah, and then somebody might water them when they come in on,
and they fall over because some kid knocks them off, and they're getting all all beat up and abused.
And they're not happy plants. So that could be one problem. So maybe go to your local garden center, nursery, whatever, to buy a house plant, because they take care of them.
You can, one of the ways you can treat root rot is, a general rule of thumb is remove the plant from its pot and gently rinse the soil from the roots. Inspect the roots and use clean, sharp shears to cut off the roots that are mushy and discolored or dead. And then you can repot it with good, clean potting soil and water it lightly so the soil kind of seats around the roots. And this can potentially help revitalize or reverse the root rot situation.
Right. And if you've got root rot on your plants, don't feel bad, but don't get mad if somebody bought you the plant from the local grocery store. It's not their fault. It's called point of sale.
But also, you can buy the most healthiest plant at a grocery store, and if you care for it incorrectly, you're going to potentially damage it or kill it.
Yeah, that plant that I had in my office, when I brought it home, that plant came from my coworkers who bought it from a grocery store, and in the office it was just fine. And
because it was neglected just enough.
It was neglected just enough, and I think the air, was drier probably. So who knows? Anyway, so we also have southern blight. So southern blight is.
Now this is on tomatoes or just in general? Just in general.
Right. It can be a problem in states like Wisconsin, in the northern area. Uh-huh. So it goes on to onions, beets, any root crops, rhubarb, strawberry, lettuce, cucumber, melon, etc. So what happens is usually right at the root at the plant, you'll see these water-soaked lesions, and then it can spread from there. So it can kind of splash around.
Well, in order to help treat this issue, you want to focus on prevention and including removal of infected plants and soil, practicing crop rotation with non-host crops that are not susceptible to it, in places where the problem has existed in the past. So you can there's fungicides. You can provide some control, but most effectively, preventionary measures you should avoid planting in that area in which it was affected with plants that are non-susceptible to it. Solarizing can be used to kill the fungal structure under the soil. That's whenever you put a black piece of plastic down or a tarp, and the heat solarizes, basically bakes the soil to kill. It kills everything, but it's easier to revitalize it with the microbes, the worms, the good stuff, after you've got rid of the bad stuff.
Right. So that's southern blight. I think this one's kind of this is a fun plant disease, corn smut, especially because I feel like more people are trying to grow backyard corn.
It's a disease, but also in certain cultures, it is a delicacy in cuisines.
So, corn smut looks like this. I don't even know how you describe it. It
looks like a grayish brown black mushroom coming out of the end of the ear of corn.
There you go.
And not even the whole ear of corn is developed. It's just growing in where the ear of corn should be.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. And it is a fungal disease. So corn smut happens because the spores lived in the soil at some point and they got reactivated, and then they decided to show up on your corn. So this could be a fungus that has lived in your soil for years and years and years, and then the one year that you grow corn, it just happens. Uh-huh. And there's nothing wrong with corn smut. Basically what you do is you remove the plants, you knock the corn smut off, and again, you can eat this. I don't know how you eat this, but you could look that up, and I don't know if you can cook it or what, but then once this has formed, they do recommend burning it or putting it into the trash, because then it will help prevent the spores from spreading. I don't know why you'd want to burn it, but yeah.
Outbreaks are more common when midsummer temperatures are between the 80 and 92 degrees Fahrenheit or 27, 33 degrees Celsius. And I've seen this in big ag as well, not in entire fields, but sporadic here and there. You would see it every now and then. So corn smut, if it happens to you and you're interested in consuming it, you can find recipes. Otherwise, you want to plant it in a different area. And there you go. Some diseases in which you may have and you can work and manage.
Joey, summer is winding down, but just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yards and those Japanese beetles and other grubs. They may now be hidden, but they're not far. Not only did the beetles feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs in your turf so that they can invade your yard again next year. Fight back with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical Bt granule that applied to lawns and specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae, with an 80% plus control even in the fall.
Holly, did you know that Grub Gone is the only non-chemical choice that effectively controls grubs? And when you combine it with the best chemical grub control at very low amounts, BioAdvanced grub control products, the tough-to-kill fall season grubs, are hit with a 1-2 punch that kills them at the best rate tested, nearly 100%. This combo of the best of biology and chemistry is called IPM, Integrated Pest Management, which is the best industry practice. Mix 1.25 pounds of each per 1,000 square feet equals 100% control. Grub Gone from Phylum Bioproducts, the best combination of safety and performance. Hang out with us when we return. Emily Teuscher, author, will be with us. You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Azure Standard is America's premier family-owned online store for organic foods and healthy products for your home and garden. They deliver directly to families and commercial customers through over 3,500 drop points across all 50 states. Azure Standard strives to make grocery shopping easy, bringing all your needs to one convenient pickup location. As a trusted national health food distributor, Azure Standard offers bulk and specialty health foods to communities nationwide. With over 12,000 products, each one is approved and carefully sampled to ensure the highest quality. Azure Standard holds firm to non-GMO, organic, and natural standards. From food and beauty products to household items, nutritional supplements, animal care, hobby supplies, and even garden essentials, Azure Standard truly has everything for your daily living. Visit AzureStandard.com, that's AZURE Standard.com. Use promo code Joey and Holly 15 at checkout to get 15% off for new customers who open an account for the first time and place a minimum order of $100 or more, shipped to a drop location of your choice. That's code Joey and Holly 15 at AzureStandard.com. Azure Standard is AZURE Standard.com.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at jungseed.com. That coupon code is 15TG25 to save 15% off your order at jungseed.com.
R.H. Shumway is a family-owned and operated gardening company with a large selection of seeds and plants online. You can use code 15TG25 to receive 15% off your order at rhshumway.com. That's code 15TG25. Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Do you have nuts or fruit in your yard? A Nut Wizard is a handy, effective tool that will pick up round or oval tree produce quickly and easily, leaving debris behind for a clean harvest. A Nut Wizard tool saves your back and your time. Visit nutwizard.com for more information. Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow year-round. Strongest greenhouses that will last a lifetime. From agricultural to lounging to entertaining. For more information, go to wisconsingreenhousecompany.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us. More information about those coupon codes can be found at our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Season 9 tab at the top of the page, or the Money tab for the coupon codes. Well, Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Emily Teuscher is the creative host at Copper Spoon Inn. She's an author, podcaster, crafter, and more. She shares all of this on social media and has a cookbook coming out called the Copper Spoon Chronicles Cookbook. Welcome to the program, Emily.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Well, we want to thank you for taking time out of your day to not only educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this. How did you get into cooking? Was it this something you have always enjoyed, or was it something that you learned later on in life and was like, hey, this might be the journey I need to go on?
Yeah, honestly, ever since I was a little kid, I grew up cooking. I have memories of sitting at the counter at my grandma's house and me and my sisters arguing over who got to make the guacamole. So cooking has been very ingrained in my family ever since I was very, very little. And we've been cooking meals for ourselves since before I could remember, really.
Do you remember a go-to or a specific meal that really, when you have it today, it's like you're sitting back with your family around the table?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely spoon tacos. It's basically like white person tacos in a casserole form. It's one of my favorite recipes, and we would have it every single time we went to my grandparents' house.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That's funny. All right, so you have this inn, I guess. I don't really, know what to call it. But
Yeah, it's an inn. I-N-N, yeah.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for, the Copper Spoon Inn?
So when we were first starting to do it, like me and my now fiance, we've always loved fantasy things like Lord of the Rings. We play a lot of D&D. And at the time, I was actually making content on TikTok as an artist. We ran an Etsy shop together. I was doing wood burnings and that sort of thing. And one day I decided I didn't have enough time to finish my art project, but I still wanted to post. So I just filmed a video of me making soup, and I threw some Lord of the Rings music in on the background. And it was like right around when a bunch of taverns were starting to go viral on TikTok and stuff too. And overnight the video got like 3 million views. So really the tavern found us. It was just kind of a coincidence that it all happened. And then it kind of launched off from there.
Yeah, we hear that story in the gardening genre and other things that, I'm just doing this, it's fun. And then all of a sudden you hit this magical spot that you don't know what you did. You wish you could duplicate it, but you're riding it because it's fun, and all of a sudden your video just hits in a mark that never could be duplicated.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
All right, so your book is coming out November 18th. It's called the Copper Spoon Chronicles Cookbook. Please tell us all about it, what people can expect when they go through it, maybe what type of recipes are in there, and why they should pick up a copy.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different types of recipes in the cookbook, but the thing that makes this cookbook kind of like stand out compared to others is that it's not just a cookbook, it's also a fantasy story. So it is a tavern, and it is we want it to be fantasy themed. We try to give a vibe of an adventurer walking through and getting their meal. And so very early on, when I knew we wanted to do a cookbook, I knew I wanted to have an element of story where it's this girl telling you the story of how she found all of her recipes. But it's not just my grandma gave me this recipe, or I went on a trip to Italy. It's I went and I fought a dragon, and then the butcher who butchered the dragon taught me how to make this meal for it, Right. So it's not just a cookbook. It's following the story of Copper Spoon and how she leaves her hometown of just a couple hundred people, and she gets to go and experience the real world for the first time, and adventure for the first time, and gain all of these recipes from different people around this fantasy world.
I'm guessing dragon steaks are probably a very high commodity, very, very costly.
Oh, 1,000%. Very costly. It was really fun coming up with all of the different sort of like fantasy recipes. It was very difficult because I had a lot of the recipes already there. But then I was like, I have to make this something interesting now. It can't just be a chicken sandwich. It has to be something cool, So
in the cookbook, what is the range? Very simplistic to very elaborate, complicated, intense? Is that kind of where we're looking at, or is there kind of a medium, easy, simplistic level? What can we expect?
It's a combination of all. I do a lot of like homemade stuff. I don't like using a ton of canned products. So a lot of it is like from scratch cooking. There are recipes that are super simple, only have a couple ingredients. And then there's recipes where it's like, this is going to take you some time, but you're really going to enjoy it by the end of it. There's a bunch of homemade breads and soups and very comforting food for the most part.
Well, you growing up in your world and many of our listeners having that grandmother or that mother who did that intense cooking, we can appreciate the flavor and the love that goes into these dishes, not just something very quick that you warm up in a pot.
Oh yeah, my stepmom and her mom used to do homemade canning, and we'd literally take a week off of school and we'd go to Yakima and we'd just pick a bunch of vegetables ourselves and spend an entire week in the living room sitting and making things homemade. So I'm very used to having this homegrown cooking. And so I love incorporating that into the tavern and just being like, this is how you can do it yourself. And you don't always have to buy things from a store if you don't want to, you know? And
whenever you take a week off from school to can, that is real work. Whenever you're sitting there cutting and snapping peas and that's intense, because we talk about canning on the program quite a bit. And it is not we'll get to it, let's just take a break. You've got to move quickly to make things happen safely.
Oh yeah, 1000%. I remember staying up into the early morning just watching a pressure pot, like, okay, when's it gonna hit that number, you know?
That's really fun. So you go to cosplay type conventions, kind of like, if most people aren't familiar, like Comic-Con or other type of conventions. How did you get into that? Is that something you've always been into? What are some of your favorite things about them? And when you cosplay there, are you like, as you're the innkeeper? Is that kind of what you do? So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I've known about cons for a very long time, but never got to go to them. But when I met my now fiance, Brett, he had been to cons before, and we were really stepping into like the tavern and social media universe. And so we started to reach out to cons and see about getting tickets to go. And so I actually went to my first con. I want to say it was either 2 or 3 years ago, and it was Rose City Comic-Con. It's in Portland, Oregon. It's a really good one because it's big without being massive like some of the ones on the East Coast. And we have always gone as our tavern persona. But the thing I love about cons is that it is literally for everybody. If you love Disney movies, you see cosplayers who are dressing up as Disney princesses. If you love anime, you see people who have spent hours on these elaborate costumes. And it's just like a melting pot for everybody who is in that nerddom kind of group. Anybody who likes characters and fantasy and things that are an escape from reality. And that's what I love about conventions. It's just a culmination of people who have that same mindset of enjoying the things that are not real, you know?
Right. And this whole environment, this is your golf game. This is your car collecting. This is your camping. This is what you put your money, your fun money in. And this is your enjoyment, your vacation type of thing.
Exactly. It is crazy seeing. I can't even get started. I love dressing in like fantasy fashion, but there are some people who will put hundreds of thousands of hours into one outfit for one day for once a year. It is crazy seeing the amount of work that some people put into this just because they simply love it and they love these characters and they connected with them.
Now, is there competitions on who creates the best costume, or is it just everybody gets together and goes, hey, I like that. That's a cool how does that work in a convention?
So they do have competitions for the actual people who have made costumes. They'll have like a homemade costume competition as well as like a store-bought costume competition, just so there's not like competition there. But they do have contests, but for the most part, I've seen hundreds of thousands of people show up to these cons in costumes, and maybe 15 or 20 of them actually enter the contest for best costume.
It's the environment.
Exactly. A lot of it is just the environment. They also there's a lot of like actors and people from movies who come and they do panels where you can actually go up and ask them questions. So it's really fun getting to meet some of those people who are behind the characters as well.
Yeah, it's definitely looks. I have a lot of friends who go to them, and it looks like a lot of fun. And
for people who are not into that type of thing, can somebody go that's not dressed up just to enjoy the environment, or do you is kind of required you have to dress up?
Oh, you can 1000% go. There's a ton of people who go and just enjoy it. Most conventions have huge artist alleys where there's a bunch of small business and artists who are just selling their wares, and that's how they're really known, is for going to these cons. There's authors, there's people you can meet, and there's no requirements really. Like, the biggest thing is just no real weapons, which is hard for some of the cosplayers because it's easier to just buy a replica sword online. But a lot of people get very creative with foam and glue.
That is a lot of fun. So are you going to promote your book at one of these cons and have a booth or a table, whatever they call it?
So that is definitely the goal one year. We just recently, this past year, we were invited to go to Rose City Comic Con as a creator. And unfortunately, the cookbook wasn't out quite yet, so we couldn't do anything there. We're definitely planning on reaching out to some more cons and trying to plan some more events like that.
Well, what is your favorite go-to comfort meal?
So my favorite comfort meal is, and I guess it's not like a specific meal, but it's just sandwiches. I am notoriously known for making a sandwich out of literally anything. If there's bread on my plate, it will become a sandwich with everything else that's there. So anything in between two slices of bread is my go-to comfort meal.
I see.
So I don't know if you've ever seen the Friends episode where Ross what's his name, Monica, Ross's sister, makes him like a leftover turkey sandwich with the moist maker in the middle. Have you ever made anything that was like so in depth where it's such a good sandwich that somebody would lose their mind over it?
Oh, I have so many of them, and the problem is I never remember what they are because it is usually that where it's just these are 3 different leftovers I found in my fridge. I'm somehow gonna put it together.
A one-time thing type of, yeah.
Exactly. Imagine the Scooby-Doo sandwich every single time.
That's a lot of fun. I do need to ask, and I'm sure other people are probably curious, like the spoon tacos, the taco casserole, is it just like beans, taco meat, cheese? Like, what are the ingredients? Is there something that you can find easily online? I need to know now.
So this is actually one of the recipes in the cookbook because I love it so much, and it's literally just seasoned taco beef mixed with beans. You can do refried or black beans, but we always did like whole black beans, and then you do a layer of crushed up chips over the top of that, and then you put on literal lettuce, tomatoes if you like tomatoes, sour cream drizzled all over it, and then you top it with cheese and just bake it in the oven just long enough for the cheese to be melted.
Well, Emily, we greatly appreciate your time. How can people find the book? Where can they go when it comes out November 18th? Where's the destination?
Yeah, so you can order the Copper Spoon Chronicles wherever books are sold. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. If you just Google the Copper Spoon Chronicles, no space between copper and spoon, then it should pop up on any website, including international websites.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for your time and your information, not only cookbooks, but the Comic-Con and all of that. So thank you so much for your time educating Holly, myself, and all of our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really nice talking to you guys.
Absolutely. And when we return, it's Your Garden Questions and Our Garden Answers. You're tuned in, the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
4-Jar Canning Supply, your one-stop shop for all your canning needs, where old ways meet new in every jar. They are a family with decades of home canning experience, offering top-quality products and outstanding service. Never run out of canning lids again. Whether you're a seasoned canner or just starting out, their extensive range of canning products will elevate your canning game. 4jars.com. Inspired by the homemade preserves of our childhoods, they want to share that same joy with you. They deeply care about your family's health and understand the importance of homemade, nutritious meals. That's why they offer high-quality products to help you preserve your food. Quality canning lids, pressure canners, vacuum seal machines, and all the tools you need to get the job done. 4Jars has you covered. Our canning lids provide the perfect airtight seal for any regular, wide, or gem-sized jar. With the thickest lids on the market, they provide long-lasting freshness up to 18 months and are rust-resistant, ensuring your preserves stay secure. Use code 4JARS25 to save 10% off your order at 4jars.com. That's FORJARS25 to save 10% off your order at 4jars, FORJARS.com. Check out ivorganics.com. It's America's leading garden product YouTube channel. IV Organic products are innovative, organic, effective, and proudly USA made to help you achieve your best growing season. Use coupon code RADIO10 at checkout and save 10% on your entire order at ivorganics.com. That coupon code again is RADIO10 to save 10% on your order at ivorganics.com. Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you're here. Thank you so much. Hey, it's time for garden questions and answers. You got a question, send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com or toll free coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. You can check out all those sponsors you hear in the program during the breaks, and we thank you for hanging out with us between those breaks, because those individuals pay for the airtime so you can hear us on your favorite station each week, March through October. Let's go to the hotline. We got a question here in regards to some plant growing problems.
My name's Anthony. I'm from the Pittsburgh area, and I was calling about, I just planted my garlic, and should I fertilize it or not? And I haven't been able to grow green beans for 3 years. Should I fertilize them also? Or any vine products haven't been growing for me, including cucumbers or zucchini, but I do not fertilize. Thank you.
Well, Anthony, thank you for calling in with your question. And when you plant your garlic here this fall, do not fertilize it. We don't want to fertilize garlic in the fall because we don't want it to get accelerated and start growing excessively before it goes into dormancy during the winter months. As the spring breaks in the next year, that is when we can add a liquid fertilizer, or we can top dress around our garlic with compost. And compost is also can be used for the issues in which you have addressed.
If you top dress with the compost, you want to cultivate it in. So you use a little 3-prong cultivator tool, and you kind of mix it in.
Well, now this is in
the roots.
Around the garlic. You can just top dress it and water it.
Oh, yeah. But like
before you plant the other areas, you want to stir it in, mix it in. Right.
Same thing with fertilizer. Yeah. So you would definitely want to fertilize everything in the spring, including where you're going to plant the green beans, cucumbers, etc. If you haven't had luck in 3 years, it's really likely that you may even need a soil test to figure out what you want to add to it or what would be good for it. If you don't want to go through a soil test, you could just find a nice all-purpose fertilizer like a 10-10-10. And I would recommend using a granular for wherever you're going to plant your beans, cucumbers, etc. A liquid is a little bit better for on the garlic.
You can get a soil test from soilsavvy.com. Soilsavvy.com. They will give you order it, they send it out to you, and then it will give you 16 you do what the instructions indicate, and it will send it back to their lab, and they will email you, and it will give you 16 points of analyzation of what you should do, what you should stop doing, how to go about doing it, and how to do all the things that you need to in order to help get your soil back to where it needs to be. So mysoilsavvy.com. Fertilize not only with compost, because it seems like there's long-term issue here. Compost in the spring, and then add that organic granular fertilizer, no more than a 10-10-10. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money, and because you're getting too much fertilizer, and it's not going to be able to be utilized during the growing season. I grew a clipping of a raspberry bush in a big planter this summer. didn't want to spread, so I kept it in the planter. I decided where it would permanently be planted, spot soon to be. Any suggestions on how do I overwinter it in the pot?
So
to survive
to survive winter in a pot, the whole pot would be had to put into the ground up to its rim, so you can cover. So once you have the plant, so you dig a hole that's deep enough for the pot to fit in. So you want to make
preferably beside, like if it's going to be a north facing wind, preferably on the south side of a building, so it doesn't get
as aggressive.
Right.
Or you could maybe put like a little.
Well, and you want to cover it with thick layers of mulch and leaves. And
so once you put it in the soil, the pot itself, then you would want to make sure you are
make
like a cage and put all of the leaves and mulch and whatnot. And then you would want to make sure you're putting fencing so the rabbits do not feed on it, because the rabbits
they'll feed on it.
They'll eat they'll feed on it. So, yeah.
Okay, what can I add to my raised bed soil mix to make it drain better? I was thinking of sand. We talked about this in the first segment, but not sure if it has to be a specific type of sand. Trying not to make this super costly. Well, we talked about we don't want to add sand because sand and clay plus water equals adobe or a concrete material. So what you want to do is first, before you...
First of all, my question is why, like, if it's a raised bed garden soil mix, it shouldn't need anything to be
We have had questions on this program where they've built a raised bed and then took loose ground soil and filled the raised bed with it. Okay. So, which is defeating the purpose of a raised bed.
But it says a raised garden soil mix.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
which that can be crummy soil too. We've talked about that.
Right. That's true. So anyway, you don't want to add sand. What you want to do is mix in 2 to 3 inches of compost, and then you want to drill holes in the bottom or near the bottom of the bed.
Before you add the compost.
Yeah, before.
Preferably with a planting auger. And the reason why you want to pierce that ground beneath the raised bed is to get that mixture. You can do 8 or 9 holes wherever, in order to kind of get that to work into the into the ground soil and help with the drainage as well. So that will work quite well. You can also use perlite and vermiculite. Those are 2 natural ways of helping aerate the soil, add drainage to the soil. But it seems to me, based on the question, that there is an issue with the actual ground underneath the raised bed if it is not draining very good.
Then the holes, you could do holes along the side of the and the lower part.
But yeah, it's a very dense soil. But digging them holes, that will help get that compost in there, and the microbes will help break apart and cause better drainage. Okay, has anyone ever grown garlic directly in their strawberry patches? Looking to do this to save space, and I'm not going to plant many. Just want to plant a few.
I don't see why you couldn't. You just want to think about the spacing. So you want to make sure you are properly spacing them. They take about 1 square foot. You don't want to crowd them in. And strawberries usually bloom end of June, mid to end of June. And garlic is pretty much usually ready by then, so it shouldn't be a problem.
You want to plant it in a place where, when you dig that garlic up, that you're not going to
disturb it too much.
The roots of the strawberry plants, right?
So that's something to keep in mind. People say that it can be a good companion plant for strawberries. Garlic is. I would try it if I was trying to maximize my garden space. Stuff like this is how you get good maximization out of your garden space. If you don't have a lot of it, it really can be helpful. Well,
yeah, you're planting the garlic in October, November, and it's staying there till June, some even July. So there's a lot of real estate that is used up. So if you can figure out a place in the strawberry patch or between the strawberry rows, or if you've got a flower bed in the front or the side of the house somewhere where you can throw 5 or a dozen bulbs or cloves in, that works just as well. You're utilizing that aspect of it.
And there's nothing wrong with holding off on planting some tomatoes after you harvest your garlic, those tomatoes will be just fine.
You want to make sure you can get access to them. So starting those tomatoes, we start plenty, and we've done that where we've harvested the potatoes. We planted the potatoes like April, and they came out in June, and then we had excess tomatoes that we dropped in so we could get more tomatoes in the later portions. Also, in areas where we've had garlic, we have pulled that garlic out in June, mid-June, early July, and dropped potatoes in for a 90-day fall harvest of potatoes as well. So
I don't know where this person is, but for us, our falls have shifted quite a bit, where it seems like what used to be mid-September temperatures are now moving to early October. So
it's getting warmer longer.
Yeah, it's getting warmer longer. So planting things a little bit later in the year, you're going to have a later harvest, and that's okay.
More time. Well, we are out of time, and we appreciate yours. Miss any portion of the program or want to revisit it, the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, you can search that on your favorite search engine, and we're up. You'll find us everywhere. You can also go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and click on the Season 9 tab, and all the past shows can be found throughout the specific tabs associated with the year. Tune in the program next week. It will be our last show of Season 9. Buying seeds and seed starting. We'll discuss that because we don't start the show until March next year, so some of you will already be ahead of the game. We want to bring that to light, as well as building a raised bed. What do you need? What don't you need? And the information to make it successful. And our third segment will bring back Chatter Spot. And our fourth segment, we'll have some thank yous to dish out. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.